Good morning, or I'm sorry, good afternoon, rising eighth graders. My name is Mr. Clapper. I'm the coordinator of educational technologies at the upper school, along with being a U.S. history teacher. And I have the lovely Miss Brahman with us today.
Hi, everybody. It's nice to be here to be able to answer all your questions and hopefully get you through this crazy time. I know I've had lots of questions. I'm not sure about you, Mr. Clapper, but I know there's several out there.
Yes, I've definitely had lots of questions, and that's hopefully what we're going to answer all your questions today. We are, like you guys know, live on YouTube right now. I am recording this, so and I will post this for you guys to view at a later date or to review the information because obviously we're going to be talking about a lot of things today, and really we're here to reassure you guys and to tell you, how excited you should be about joining us in the upper school. Typically, I get to do this in front of you guys at assembly, but unfortunately today, with the current situation, we have to be a little different. But really, you guys have so much excitement ahead of you. Eighth, I know when I used to teach in the middle school, they do an amazing job, and middle school is amazing, and upper school will be just as amazing for you guys as you kind of move into the next stages of your academic lives. So, the first thing that I want to talk about today is basically give you guys a rundown of how the course request system kind of works, because that's the system we use. Now, like with anything, things may change. We might be moving to different systems, but it's again in the upper school, you are given choice. You are given an opportunity to kind of build the class schedule and the classes that you want, and that's the kind of freedom that Miss Brahman and Mr. B really want to give you guys when you guys come to the upper school. So before we get to all your questions that you guys have submitted and any other questions that you guys pose through YouTube, and please by all means post those questions. We'll be able to answer them. I wanted to walk you through the process of course requests. So luckily I had a volunteer. I volunteered Jameson to do this. Thank you, Jameson. And we're going to kind of walk you through that process. So the first thing I did was I logged into my school app. And I think most of you guys already know how to do that. This is where you can see your schedule, your final report card grades and all that kind of good stuff. But you also have this option, course request. Now, I know a few of you didn't see this option, course request. That's fine. Don't freak out. Go ahead and shoot me an email and we're going to figure that out. We just probably a little click of the mouse button will get you guys all squared away. The next thing that you want to do is you want to make sure you read the guidelines that I give you here. Now, with anything, all of you are going to be requesting your courses. Does that mean you're going to get all these courses? Probably not, because we do prioritize our seniors and then juniors and then sophomores and then freshmen because, well, seniors have to graduate. But we still want to give you that choice. So as you can see here, you have to request 5 classes, okay? If you are a full day or boarding student, that means you go the whole day. You need to make sure to request a lunch, and you need to request a study hall, okay? Now, for those students that are, our SEMA athletes or any other type of half-day students, you don't need to request lunch or study hall because unfortunately you don't have a study hall unless there's some other exceptions there, and your lunch will be assigned to you. Don't worry, you'll definitely be able to eat. So when you look at this, as you guys can see, these are all the different offerings. We offer a ton of classes in the upper school. We want to give you freedom. Upper school is amazing, and a part of how amazing it is because of all these different offerings. So the first thing you want to do, okay, is you want to go through the kind of the idea or thinking about what you want to take. Now, a lot of these types of things will be recommended to you. For example, your English class. You can see here that Mrs. Tomasi has recommended English 1 honors for this student, all right? That is the class you want to take. Now, the way you go about doing this, and again, this is a little bit different. Don't worry, James, I'm going to delete a request, so don't freak out on me, okay? I'm going to remove this. Now, you can see here, now Jameson doesn't have an English class. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to English, okay? And I'm going to look for the one that's been recommended for him. Now, we know because of the recommendation that we saw here that we're going to go for English 1 honors. And we're going to request that course. And you can see it pop up right down here. Now, if you're wondering what recommendations you have, all you do is scroll down to the bottom and there's those recommendations. Now, after I hit that recommendation, I'm going to hit save. But as I told you in these instructions, you want to make sure to request an alternative. Now, the beautiful thing about this is if you were recommended for English 1 Honors, you're probably going to get English 1 Honors unless there's some crazy situation, which most likely there won't be, but you'll get English 1 Honors. But you just want to make sure to always put in an alternative. Now, alternative to English 1 Honors is probably English 1. And that's all you have to do, making sure you hit save. That's the entire process. Now, please understand that this does not mean that you're going to have English honors at 8th period. This is just the priority, okay? That's it. And to be completely honest, it really won't affect you guys in the slightest which order you do this in. Algebra 2 will not be your first period. Biology honors will not be the second period, and so on and so forth. You can put these in any order. And as you can see there, you can delete and come back and change. And that's the whole process. You want to make sure, again, if you're a full student, that you request your lunch and request the study hall. Again, these numbers do not indicate what period you'll have it in. The magic button will do that, and I'll take care of that. But what it will do is to make sure that you get that class. Now, I know you guys have a lot of questions, and Mrs. Brahman is ready to answer all those questions. And please, like I said, make sure to pose those questions in on the chat, and we'll be able to answer them. So, Miss Brahman, what courses does a freshman need to take?
The freshmen need to make sure that they select an English, math, science, social studies, and for those of you that are 5-period-a-day students, you're going to want to go ahead and select your world language class, whatever that class might be. If you are a full-day student, if you want to save world language for down the road a little bit, that's fine. You can go ahead and select your fine arts or your technology credits. But you'll want to take your 4 core classes and then either a world language or fine arts technology.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. And again, guys, don't worry about writing this stuff down. Don't worry about, oh my God, I forgot what she just said. I'm recording this whole thing. You can come back and see Miss Brahman's lovely face and see my face later on. And I will make sure to post this as a recording to your Canvas class course. So the next question, Brahman, and Miss Brahman, we are going to be jumping around a little bit. How many fine arts and tech credits does a graduate or to graduate?
You will need 1 full credit of technology and 1 full credit of fine arts. Many of our technology and fine arts credits are half credit classes. So if you take half credit classes, you would of course need 2 of those classes to make a full credit. The other thing, Mr. Clapper, that I'd like to add is I don't want anyone to worry or panic. At the end of Mr. Clapper hitting the magic button, we get printouts of everybody's course schedules. And
sure do.
I spend almost my entire summer going through all of those course schedules to make sure that you all have selected the courses that you need. So if you get an email from me in the middle of the summer that says, hey, I noticed that you picked this and we should probably look at that, don't worry. Just know that there's lots of eyes on me, so you can't mess it up.
And that's a great point, Ms. Brahman, because you guys got to realize we're giving you freedom, but we're also there to help guide you through the process. We want you guys to realize that this is actually a learning process. When you guys go to college someday, you're going to do this exact thing. The crazy thing in college is you won't have a Ms. Brahman, but you'll already know exactly how to conduct yourselves and make good choices with these classes because of the guidance Ms. Brahman and the rest of the administrative team have been able to provide you. Next one. With the 1 semester courses, Ms. Brahman, do I get to choose my second semester class if that class is only 1 semester?
That is correct. If you choose a class that is only a 1 semester course, let's say you decide to take environmental science, for example, the next semester you will be able to choose another course during that same period to take over that period in that class for a second semester.
Wonderful. Another great question here. Does if I have taken as an eighth grader, Miss Brahman, any high school level courses, or while I was in middle school, do any of those classes transfer to my high school credits?
All of those classes go on your transcript. So colleges and universities will see that you took those classes in the middle school. However, they do not transfer into being part of the credits that you need for graduation. So if you need 3 math credits, for example, and you took Algebra 1 in 8th grade, then you're going to take you're going to take Geometry, Algebra 2, and either Pre-Cal or AA&T when you get to the high school to make your 3 credits.
Wonderful. We actually just had a question come in from the YouTube Live. And again, I encourage you guys to do this. So my son is in SEMA, and he would like to know, other than math, science, social studies, English, how many years and what electives does he have to take in order to graduate at the high school level?
So the first thing that he's going to want to do is get his world languages in. And the reason that we do that is because all of our athletes, we keep really close eyes making sure that they're reaching graduation requirements and NCAA eligibility requirements. So we can get their fine arts and their technology credits later, but they have a certain number of credits that they have to reach by the end of their junior year. So we pay very close attention to that as well, which is why I suggest that they all do their world language before their technology and fine arts. They will be receiving credit for their SEMA or CBD or whatever they're in. So that helps with some of those elective credits, as well as we have some kids that decide to take a couple summer school classes. We have some classes that are offered online, or like we have Leaders in History with Mr. Weaver that meets from 7:10 until 7:40 one morning a week. And the rest of the week it's online. So those students can get that half credit of social science that they need.
Also, if you guys notice on your screen, and I'm just going to double check that you guys can see it there, and I clicked on the link right there on the course selection, here is the list of your graduation requirements. Now you can see here, this is a little bit older, but these are still, as of right now, the graduation requirements for Montverde Academy. Now again, there's different circumstances, and Miss Brahman and Dr. K and Mr. B might meet over the summer and change these, and I will make sure to update them. But this is just a great example of what you will need to complete by the end of the year. Now, I realize a lot of you have special questions like transfer credits and my old school and the class and that class. Don't worry. Miss Brahman and the entire administrative team at the upper school level will guide you, will help you. All you need to do is 2 things. Ask the question through an email, and be patient. Remember, we take care of a lot of students in the upper school level, and I trust you. When Miss Brahman says she takes her entire summer to make sure that the rising 9th graders are prepared, she really does. I see her. Be patient. She's going to help you. Our entire team is going to help you. Just be patient and let her respond to you, and I bet you she'll give you the answer you were looking to hear. All right, Ms. Brahman, next question here. The question that I know a lot of students want to know is, when will I get my schedule?
Usually, it's kind of this little miracle. You'll all of a sudden log into your account and you'll see the schedule. And we have this mad dash of phone calls and messages and Instagram and all over the place of, did you get your schedule? Did you get your schedule? So it is fairly quickly. What I will say is that initial schedule that you see is not necessarily the schedule that you will have that first day of school. So please continue to check back. Those go live almost immediately. And so as I make changes and even out classes, or I notice that maybe a student needs a certain period for different reasons, whatever that might be. Maybe someone ended up in an afternoon class, but they have afternoon practices or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of changing. So try not to get that schedule stuck in your mind, and know sometimes even within, Mr. Clapper will tell you, even within the first couple weeks of school, we're still adjusting schedules. He has kids come in and out. He never knows what period they're going to be popping in. But we do always, please know, unless a child's been misplaced or you've gotten the wrong class for some reason, we try to keep the teachers and the classes the same when we change your schedule, unless we've already talked about it and you know about that. So we try very hard to make sure that the schedule might change the periods, but it's not going to change what class you are in.
Exactly. And that kind of leads into our next question. When you do get your schedule, will our rising ninth graders be able to adjust it or change their schedule?
Yes, we do make adjustments. Please know that the adjustments aren't normally made because you email me and say, Miss Brahman, my best friend is in English 1 first period. Can I please be in English 1 first period? Those types of requests, we just have too many students in the school, and there's just, normally you'll end up with something with your friends, or you'll make new friends. That's kind of what high school is all about. But we definitely can tweak and change. I know I've had kids before that I took English 1 honors, and now I'm really nervous about it. And I went the first 2 days, and I'm just not sure. I think I want to go ahead and stay with regular English. Those are definite things that we can switch for you.
And kind of feeding off of that, when you go through the course selection process, can you change your mind? And we've already kind of talked about that. Yeah, if you guys have until tomorrow to do this, and I know a lot of you already have, so don't freak out. But please realize that, yeah, you can go back and change it as much as you want. Just hit this little remove button, select the class you want, but always make sure to hit that save button. I know you guys maybe can't see it. It's behind me in the picture, but right down here there's a save button. Make sure to hit that save button, and you can hit that as many times as you want. Okay. Next question I can go ahead and answer. Does a half-day student or a half-day program student need to select a lunch? Nope, you sure don't. You will be placed in your appropriate lunch, because obviously with training, lunches vary significantly. We've already talked about the language credits requirements, and then the big question that I know a lot of you want to know about, AP classes. Mrs. Brahman, can freshmen take AP classes?
Freshmen are allowed to take 1 AP class. They can choose from 4 different selections. Your choice options would be AP Computer Science, AP Biology, AP Human Geography, and AP World History. So if you choose to, you can pick one of those classes. I tell students all the time to be very careful with that. And Mr. Clapper, you can probably elaborate as an AP teacher. Basically, what you're telling me when you select an AP class is, Miss Brahman, I'm ready to go to college.
Yep.
So be prepared. We have those 3 different selections. We have college preparatory classes, which are your regular Algebra 1, English 1. Those are our college preparatory classes. We then have honors classes, which are kind of a step that, to me, they just go faster. The expectations are a little bit higher. They go a little bit at a faster pace. The homework's maybe a little bit more intense than what the regular college prep classes are. Then we have our AP classes, and those are definitely much more time consuming and take a lot more just maturity, student maturity ability to take those classes. So normally sometimes I think that students feel like they're going to be left behind if they don't take AP classes. So just to put everyone's mind at ease, I normally have only about somewhere between 8 and 10% of my incoming freshmen actually take an AP course.
And to build off what Ms. Brahman said about the AP classes, we fully understand in the upper school that you guys are competitive and you want to take a class maybe that your friends are taking. You're like, oh, I'm taking an AP class. Well, I'm not taking. Don't ever feel like you have to take an AP class. Do we want our students to take AP classes? Of course. But most of all, we want our students to be successful. And there's no reason to take an AP class when you're not ready to take one. That's our whole job as a teacher, as Ms. Brown is being a teacher and an administrator. Our job is to get you guys ready for college. You are all going to college. Congratulations, you're going. Congrats. We're going to help you get there. We're going to get you prepared. We might take the freshman year off and not take an AP class, but that doesn't mean sophomore year you don't take one, and then maybe two, and then who knows, maybe even three AP classes your senior year. But again, there's no sense in rushing into it. Success will come if you work hard, not if you rush into things. And we want to stress that as an AP teacher, I push my kids really, really hard. There's no reason for us to rush into that situation. You might say, Mr. Clapper, I really want to take AP Gov as a sophomore, and you better have a good reason why. And that reason can't be, well, my friends are in it, or I want the challenge. That's not a good answer. A good answer is, I want to push myself and find a greater level of success, and that maturity and that effort that you need to put into it will come. Trust in what Miss Brahman is saying, because she knows what she's talking about. Miss Brahman, another question about APs. How many AP classes can I take? And I kind of already know the answer to this, but go ahead and answer it.
Freshmen can only take one AP class coming in as ninth graders. 10th, 11th, and 12th graders, we kind of got, at that point, we've gotten to know you a little bit better. And so we can definitely give you guidance along the way in those areas. If at any point in time in high school you want to take any more than 3 AP classes in a semester or in a year, you have to get that approved through Mr. Bernatovitz. So, you can take up to only 1 year freshman year, up to 3 years after that. If you want any more than that, you have to get approved.
A question coming in from online. So are there some classes that are restricted to students above ninth grade? And I think that's kind of already been addressed. Yes, there are some, like some AP level classes. Obviously, you're not going to be taking AP calculus, AB or BC your ninth grade year, and unless that's the next in your path. So, there are restrictions on what classes you can take. And the nice thing is those are already put into the process of the course request. If you can't take them, it'll kind of flag the system a little bit. When you go into English here, and you guys can see my screen here, English, it'll kind of flag a little bit if you're trying to go into English 4 as a freshman. You guys aren't there just yet. So obviously, email Miss Brahman, ask her questions about what you should be taking, refer to the graduation requirements you see on your screen now. But yes, the most AP classes other than the ones mentioned by Miss Brahman are restricted. You want to add on to that, Miss Brahman?
There are also some prerequisite type courses that are required, and those are within your system as well. So if you have any questions or you come across a class that you're really interested in, don't hesitate to reach out and let me know. I know some of our sophomores get confused because right now we have AP psychology limited to only 11th and 12th graders. So, if a sophomore ends up signing up for that class, an incoming sophomore signs up for that class, I'll be reaching out to them, letting them know that they're going to have to select something else. But the system really kind of helps you do that in the beginning.
Of course. Ms. Brahman, could you go into a little bit more about Distinguished Scholars?
So Distinguished Scholars is a program that we have, and there are some requirements that you have to meet. You would not have to take an AP class your freshman year to do that. There are a certain number of APs that you have to have by the end of it, but it's not per year. So you can I know that that's lots of information on the website about that. You can apply for Distinguished Scholars at any point in time. So I know some of you already applied this year. I believe applications were due towards, I want to say middle April sometime, maybe towards the beginning of April, maybe April 8th or so in there. And they went through that whole process. We wait and let those students know who have made it during our awards assembly that's coming up next week. Mm-hmm. So we're already in the process of moving forward with next year. But if you are interested in that program, don't hesitate to apply next year. Or maybe you even want to go, I don't know, let me just see how my classes line up. And holy cow, I'm a junior and I've already done most of this stuff. Like, that's not going to be a problem at all. I'll go ahead and, apply now. So there's no certain time that you have to get into it.
Kind of going on to the next, really, please let me guys know if you have any other questions kind of regarding this. Actually, a question just came in. Are there any a limit to the amount of honors classes a person can take? You know, freshmen moving into the upper grades.
There is not necessarily a limit on honors classes. There are certain classes that don't have honors sections. For example, Spanish 1 and Spanish 2 are not, there's not a regular section and an honors section. There's just the one section. So it limits itself in some ways. But if you wanted to take all honors classes coming in as a freshman, you could do that.
No problem there. All right. I just got another question coming specifically about U.S. history. Typically, unless in special exceptions, and there might be an exception for anything, typically sophomores and juniors take U.S. history. I really appreciate you trying to rush into my U.S. history class, and maybe even my U.S. history honors class, which depending on numbers may or may not be offered yet. Again, that's a Miss Brahman, Mr. B. They look at things. They're not, unfortunately, going to let me only have a class of only a couple students. You know, if we have enough students for the honors level class, we'll see if we can offer it or not. That's, again, not set in stone, but we'll see what happens. But for U.S. history as a rising ninth grader, as a freshman, typically we don't do that. We have you go into world history and then move into or world history honors, or we have you move into and then eventually into U.S. history or AP U.S. history or honors U.S. history if that is available. Another question coming in: do we need to graduate with a sport like a after school activity? Ms. Brahman, I'm gonna let you answer that because there are some requirements when it comes to activities.
So if there is a requirement, you will see on our graduation requirements that everyone needs 2 credits. Those credits can come in the form of doing an after-school activity or participating in a sport. So you do not have to take or be on a team. You don't have to be on a team at Mount Verde Academy, but you will participate in some sort of physical activity at some point in order to receive those credits.
Thank you, Ms. Brahman. I'm just double checking to see if there's any other questions. And the beautiful thing about this, folks, if you have more questions about this type of thing, if we get a whole heap of questions, and I just saw one come in there, and I'll look at it here in a sec, we might have to do this, in the summertime again, or at the beginning of the year. Who knows? We're here to guide you, to help you, to see you grow, and to show you how amazing the upper school can be. So I just saw this. So the question is, so we cannot take a arts course and a language at the same time. Is that correct, Ms. Brahman?
You could take an art and a language at the same time. If you are a full day student, that would maybe be a possibility. We could talk about that. Not, if that's an individual person, if they want to reach out to me and email me and let me know what they're thinking about, we could definitely look at that. So there are possibilities for that.
Thank you very much, Ms. Brahman. And really the last question that I see on our list of questions here is, and I can answer this a little bit, and then I know Ms. Brahman will be able to jump onto it, is will someone help me each and every single year as I'm, looking at the requirements? And yes, you will be signed kind of a faculty advisor to kind of guide you through the process. But here's the great thing. Just like your teachers in the middle school, your upper school teachers, all of them care about you. All of them care about you. So no matter if you're assigned this advisor or not, you can go to any one of your teachers and ask them questions. We want to have those questions. We want you to feel comfortable. We want you to enjoy upper school and not stress about graduation and all this other craziness. I have students come to me all the time with questions that I've never had in my class before. And I welcome that. Every single teacher in the upper school is here to help our students. Every single teacher is waiting to help students. And if they don't know the answer, I promise you they're going to look for reach out to somebody for that answer. Want to jump off that, Ms. Brahman?
Sure. And Mr. Klepper is exactly right. You will each have an academic advisor that's your first stop for any type of scheduling things. And like I said earlier, we have a lot of eyes on this. So once all of the initial stuff is done, then you have a second layer of the counselors and administrators taking a look at what you've done. And we kind of do that all throughout the summer and all throughout next year. So what happens is I work with all of the 9th and 10th graders. Ms. Varnado for scheduling. Ms. Varnado and Mr. Robinson work with all of the 11th graders. They separate them based off of alphabet. And Mr. Bernatovitz does all of the 12th graders. So right now, at this point in time, I'm kind of taking my sophomores that I've had for the last 2 years, and I'm handing them off because they're going to be juniors next year to Mr. Robinson and Ms. Varnado. And then I'm picking you all up as I'm handing them off. And we stay in really close contact constantly and copy lots of emails so that everybody's on the same page as the kids move forward. And we know that they're all meeting the requirements that they need to.
Couple more questions coming through. It says, would there be tryouts for sports? I can't obviously answer for each individual sport, but what I can tell you to do is that all you would need to do is email our athletic department or email the coach directly. For example, guys, most people know I'm a golfer. If you wanted to play on the golf team and you want to try out, you email Coach Barnhill. If you wanted to play on the lacrosse team, you email Mr. Spalding, and find out when the tryouts are at. And if they have tryouts, because I could be wrong, but I'm not sure if every single team has tryouts, but definitely reach out to the coaches. Again, being a part of the upper school is all about communication. We encourage our students to communicate. We love getting emails from parents, but what we really love is when students advocate for themselves. If you have a question about a tryout, let's have our students email the coach and not your moms and dads. Not to say that we don't want that. We want that parent communication. What we want to do is to get you guys ready for the next level. And that's all about becoming a student advocate. And you're that student. Do you want to jump off that?
Yeah, what's nice about that too, Mr. Klepper, if they copy their parents on that email, then their parents are like, dang, my kid's getting all mature on me. Like, they get super impressed about that.
They do, students. They do. And I know we got some parents and students watching. You always want to impress mom and dad. That's not a bad thing. Just to confirm, do I need to take U.S. history? Of course you need to take U.S. history. You might need to take it, twice because you love my class so much. Yes, U.S. history is a requirement. You could take AP U.S. history. If we offer honors, you may take that, or regular U.S. history. Unless you are transferring in, and again, none of you are probably transferring in other than from the middle school. You would just, another school would have to fulfill that requirement. But yes, U.S. history is definitely a requirement.
It's not your freshman year.
What was that?
It's just not a requirement your freshman year.
Yes, it's not a requirement your freshman year. Thank you, Ms. Brahman. If we have more questions, how can we contact you guys? We'll put up our email addresses, but you can find Miss Brahman online. I'll make sure to post with the recording of this. I'll post the email addresses for Miss Brahman and Mr. Bernatovitz. But again, you can go on to MVA's website, and I can actually show you on your screen right now. Again, just go to academics. You can go to the upper school. And then there's Mr. Bernatovitz, and there's all the email addresses right there, guys. Right there's all the email addresses. Okay? And you can email them there. Another question coming through. There were talks about baseball program being a half-day program. Has that been confirmed? Unfortunately, unless Ms. Brahman knows, I don't know of any changes to anything. Maybe Ms. Brahman knows more about this.
As of right now, for next year, baseball will not be a half-day program. They are a full-day program. So, yeah.
Perfect.
We do have our half-day programs include, just for those of you that are curious, we have CBD, we have SEMA, we have tennis, and the IJGA Golf Academy. Then we also have swimming is on a shortened schedule. They don't have 3 periods, but they do 2 periods in the morning of swim, and then they come into classes. And our girls' soccer program has a period in the afternoon that they go to practice early. So those are our early dismissals.
Wonderful. I don't see any more questions coming through, but now everyone knows exactly where you can email questions and get those answers. But again, like with anything, just be patient because again, I can promise you that the entire middle school team is working as hard as they possibly can. But we do have a lot of students and we will get to you as quickly as possible. Ms. Brahman, any kind of closing thoughts?
No, we look forward to having you all here. It'll be nice when we have you face to face instead of doing it. I love technology, and I'm so thankful that we are in a situation where we can do all of this stuff for you guys. But, I miss looking out in that courtyard and seeing kids all over the place. So we're really looking forward to having you on campus. Don't hesitate to let me know if you have any questions. And if you just aren't sure who to ask or who to reach out to, you can send me the question and I'd be happy to copy and send it on to whoever needs to find out.
And to kind of jump off exactly what Ms. Brahman said, your teachers are super excited to have you guys join us. We're so, we're going through some difficult times now, but when we start the school year, when we have you join our classes, either freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year, it's going to be a great experience. You are in wonderfully supportive hands. You're going to be in an environment that cares about you deeply. And before you know it, we're going to be seeing you guys walk across the graduation stage. And that's going to be a wonderful time. Crazy to think, talking about graduation for freshmen, but it really does move that fast. So enjoy every moment you have. And again, if you guys need anything at all, the entire upper school is waiting, wanting, and willing to help you with everything. Guys, have an amazing day, an amazing evening, and we can't wait to see you in the upper school. Take care.